there, my name is Jen and I'm dedicated to keeping you moving. I'm all about fun and fitness when over 40, so if you like your music and enjoy indoor cycling, you're in the right place. In this video, I'm going to go over 3 things. Firstly, bike setup, in order for you to get the most out of your indoor cycling workouts at home. Second would be the bike and body movements that you'll find yourself doing when during a home workout with me on the bike. And also thirdly, the resistance. Okay, bike setup. Now obviously I don't know what bike you have at home. Feel free to leave in the comments below what you're riding on. I've been on many bikes over the years. I've been an instructor now since 2012. I do have my favourites, but it doesn't really matter which bike you go for. I've decided to go for the Schwinn bike for my home workouts in order to coach you. However, any bike works. You might be on a Wattbike, you might be on a Stages bike, you might be on a Keiser bike. It really doesn't matter. If you do have any questions about your bike selection, please let me know. I'm more than happy to help. But you might have a Schwinn bike like me. They're all relatively the same or very similar. And there's 5 points we'll go over. So the first one is your saddle height, your seat height. Now the rule of thumb is to have your seat height in line with your hip bone. So once you've done that, this bike is obviously adjusted to my measurements. When you've done that, we then move on to, secondly, the handlebars. Now the handlebars ends up being a preference really. I tend to suggest to people who are pregnant, those who are recovering from any injury, if you have any back pain, neck pain at all, or if you're just returning back to spin or a beginner, that your handlebars are at their highest. I like mine high, and it's because you've got more control over the bike if they're high. Now, I tend to find in the gyms that I work at here in Leeds in the UK, come find me. I spin at David Lloyd's, Bannatynes and Leeds Beckett University. But I tend to find the cyclists tend to like theirs lower because it mimics more of an outdoor cycling experience. You've got more of an intense workout when it comes to the glutes, and yeah, you will feel the difference. So again, it's entirely up to you. So maybe you might want to give yourself a few cycles with the height being high and the height being low. Thirdly, the best thing to do is to jump on the bike and just check out the measurements you've just done. So as you can see, I'm actually wearing SPD clips, the cleats there at the bottom, and I'm just securely clicking into the baskets there. It doesn't really matter if you wear, or if you only have trainers, or if you do have proper cycling shoes. I tend to find if you do want to upgrade from trainers to SPD clips, then yeah, you'll find you're more connected to the bike, you feel more secure, and you get a lot more out of your workout, especially when it comes to heavier resistance and the faster positions on the bike. So once you've jumped onto your bike and you feel like you do have that slight bend in the arms, you do have the slight bend in the knee, then you're good to go. But there could be that additional adjustments you need to make, and that brings us to possibly, if this is the case for you, point 4. If you don't find the knee is directly over the centre of your foot when it's all the way down, then you can adjust your seat height either forward or back, again depending on your bike, but you will have an adjustment to change there. And also for the 5th point, you can also move your handlebars forward or back. So on the Schwinn bike, you've got the adjustments here, and again depending if you've got that slight bend. If you don't have the bend, you can then move the bike, and if you do, then that's fine. Now here we are, part 2, body and bike positions. What should we look like on the bike? How should we feel when riding the bike? And let's also touch upon the tempos as well. So I'll go through a few pointers. When you're spinning, after you have your adjustments sorted, we're looking for a nice relaxed upper body, where your shoulders are nice and relaxed. You've got like nice soft elbows whenever you're leaning onto the handlebars. You're looking to engage your core as much as you can, so that allows your upper body to be as upright with your head up. And yeah, when you are leaning onto the handlebars, we do usually go for 3 main positions. You've got centre grip, and here you've got to the sides of the handlebars, middle grip, and then also you have top grip as well. As long as you're feeling comfortable, then it doesn't really matter if you get to the hand positions wrong. There's no really right or wrong, but these are generally the three main positions that we can find ourselves using when on the indoor cycling bike. Now let's talk about working to the beat. This is my favourite part, especially if you love your music. You're going to enjoy this as well, because the beat of the track will dictate the speed that we go on the bike. Now when it comes to working on the beat, which is us working in mid-tempo, that's usually anywhere between 60 and 79 RPM. So if I were to slow my legs down, that's usually da, 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 da. And this is where we can usually do our seated or standing climbs up a hill. Now the next tempo is us working on the half beat, which is essentially us doubling up our pace from on the beat. So for example, it's more like a jog, and to be fair, this is one of my favourite rides on a bike. So if you were to look at my speed, it's usually anywhere between 80 and 109 RPM. And we can do this either seated or standing. So let's say you're on the half beat and you're jogging away and you wanted to start, depending on your bike. I'll show you where my brake is on this Schwinn bike. It's just here, and that brings your legs to a stop. Now the third tempo is the sprint, which is so much fun, and that's usually between the range of 110 and 130 RPM. But I believe if you have enough resistance, you're feeling confident, and you do have that control over the bike, experiment, see how fast you can go on the bike. That sense of freedom when you're feeling really fit, really healthy, and you're loving the actual tune, then why not try and go as fast as you can. However, in the clubs I do work at, usually most clubs do allow for 130 RPM maximum. Okay, so you've heard me now talk about RPM. You're probably thinking, what is RPM? RPM, revolutions per minute, and really this is how fast you are spinning on the bike per minute. If you have a power gauge, it's most likely going to tell you your RPM on the bike, and this is dictated by the track that you're actually listening to. But I used to be an instructor way before the days of power gauges on a bike, and in the classes that you find me doing online for you, we'll be basically using the beat of the track and how we feel on the bike. So it doesn't really matter if you have a power gauge on your bike, but I'll be either using, with the workouts with you, either the tempos of on the beat, on the half beat, or the sprint. And every now and then I might just, if you do have an RPM reader, power gauge, I might just shout out the RPMs as well, so I can do for both audiences. Movements on the bike. Now there's a lot of fun stuff that you'll find on TikTok and other corners online, and it looks amazing. That's the whole choreography on the bike and dancing, which is awesome. However, the studios that I work at, and my own preference as well, I've selected 5 of the most popular moves that my spinners in the gyms I work at love and enjoy doing, and you're probably going to see me most likely doing these 5 in the home workouts online on this YouTube channel. So the first one is the rock. Usually we're going to be on the mid-tempo, we're going to be standing, and we're going to be with our hands top grip. And it depends really what you find most natural to you, but we're going to rock side to side. So when you're ready to the beat, it's side to side. And it's just a great way to really get in tune with the track, adds a little bit of fun, and also it just makes you lose time and really get lost in the love of music. The second most popular move in the gyms I'm also going to be doing here online is called the crunch. So this is when your hands are most likely going to be in the center, and or either the middle grip to the sides, and the crunch can either be done on the mid tempo, which is the beat, or on the half beat, which is really the jog. So you look for a slight bend and you're slowly moving into the handlebars and also coming back up. And it's also the same when you're standing on the mid tempo, and you're slowly crunching in with the elbows in line with the handlebars, and a slight crunch in and then up. So that's the crunch when standing, and then that's on the seat, you're then crunching into the handlebars. So you'll probably see me do that in the class. The third popular movement you're going to end up seeing me doing is called isolations. So this is when we are standing in standing position. You can either have your hands in the center or to the sides. And when you're ready, just concentrate with the lower body to be as steady as you can. You've got no bounce with your upper body, and you can really feel now the glutes engaging, the hamstrings as well. And it just gives you more of an intense workout when it comes to the lower body. But isolations, they are so much fun. The fourth movement on the bike are called the jumps. So the jumps are really when you're jumping from the seat to the tops of the handlebars. So when you're ready, mid tempo on the beat, and let's say it beats the 4, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and jump, 2, 3, 4, down, 2, 3, 4, jump, 2, 3, 4. You can either bring your hands all the way down, back on the tops of the handlebars, or you leave them bottom of the handlebars, entirely up to you. Fifth move, usually I like this when we're jogging on the bike, usually to drum and bass as well, and they're called Tapbacks. So what we're going to do, let's say we're in a jog position, and Tapbacks, exactly what it suggests, you are literally going back and tapping back on the seat. So let's say we're to do count to 4, so it's up, 2, 3, 4, tap back, 2, 3, 4, and jump, 2, 3, 4, tap back, 2, 3, 4. It's great fun. This now brings us to the third and final section of the video today, and that's resistance. So the resistance is all about how much power you're putting into the bike. So if you do have a bike without a power gauge, that's absolutely no problem at all, because we tend to use the beat of the track anyway for the movement and the pace on the bike. During the workouts at home, I'll be referring to the RPE scale, the rate of perceived exertion, and it's all about how hard you feel you are working on the bike. So I've made a chart for you, I'll pop it on the screen. It's a scale of 1 to 10, and usually I start from 5. So usually during the warm-up, it's from a 5 that we push. And this is really us breathing more heavily. We can hold a short conversation, and it is somewhat comfortable. We're not quite out of our comfort zone at all really, but you can noticeably feel resistance on the bike. At 6 to 7, let's say 60 to 70% out of 100%. This is more vigorous. Here, you know, I've put here, you can speak in short sentences. It does require a bit more effort to maintain the pace on the bike, and you are beginning to feel short of breath and becoming uncomfortable somewhat on the bike. 8 to 9 is obviously seen as very hard, usually us on a heavy hill climb, let's say, and you can only really speak a few words. It's very hard to push yourself, but you're doing it anyway because that's what we're here to do, and you find it quite difficult to maintain exercise at this intensity. And 10 out of 10, a good 100% is like maximum effort. It's like you wouldn't be able to do more than 30 seconds of this. It's just one big effort, one big push on the bike. You're completely out of breath and you're unable to talk, and it's going to be hard for you to keep those legs going. So we do usually cap at about 30 seconds on that one, but that gives you a rough idea on the resistance on the bike. And just a safety tip when it comes to resistance, I tend to always encourage people to always ride against resistance, even when you're doing top speed on the bike. If you can't feel any resistance, it means you're too low and you're not going to end up being very safe on the bike, and also you're not going to maximise burning the calories, and it's not going to be that effective. So if you can't feel any resistance, it does usually mean you're quite low. So what I suggest you do is keep turning up your resistance until you feel you're pushing down on something. That gives you a rough idea that you are probably at least 5 out of 10 on that resistance dial, you know, 50 to 60%. That's your benchmark really for any class that you do. Anything lower than 5 to 6, 50 to 60% when it comes to the RPE scale, it does mean you're too low. It's not going to be very safe on your legs and your knees, and you're not going to be burning as many calories either. So making sure, as a rule of thumb, you are riding against resistance during any position and any time on the bike to make it safe. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know what you think. If you do have any question when it comes to your bike setup, anything about the tempos, what to expect on the classes, coming on to this YouTube channel, then I am all ears. I'm here in your corner, and here's to our fitness win over 40 on the bike.